record, so
Okay. All
we're,
right.
we're on.
Okay. All righty, folks. Well, thank you for joining us today. This is our second virtual professional year placement orientation. So you can look at this lovely photo to, to see what you would have been doing in pre-COVID times. But really the goal here today is kind of just to give you a really brief overview of what to expect from your professional year placement. This is not your full professional year orientation. That will come later, and that will get into like all the nitty gritty of what to expect and all the kind of gory details. This is more like if you haven't gotten your placement yet and you're kind of freaking out a little bit, like don't worry, you're fine. Here are some parameters of things what to expect. So, I think we all are a little bit more comfortable with this than we were 6 months ago. So like I said, please feel free to use the chat. I just won't see it until later. And while Sherry and I feel very confident in our Zoom abilities, that usually means something will go wrong. Like I managed to send out the wrong Zoom link for an interview last week. So that was super fun. No, that was this week. Yeah, no, last week. It's Monday. Sorry. Oh my God. Okay, so like I was saying, really the point of today is to try to answer questions you have about placements, to hopefully alleviate any concerns that you have. Because really, I know, I know it's super weird right now, and we're all being as flexible as possible, and we don't know. Really, we don't know what's coming like week by week even, and so we understand that that makes professional year even more stressful and even more kind of unclear because we don't know what to expect. And so how are we supposed to help you know what to expect? So so really we want to let you know that we are all in this with you, and kind of our whole team. You will have a whole support team that I'll get into in just a second. So no matter what what the spring and then the fall look like, just please know that we are here to work with you. And hopefully to also get you excited. So one way or another, this is the most fun year. It's also probably your most tiring year, but hey, that's good preparation, right? But no, this is, I mean, really, this is the whole reason that you have put in all this hard work so far. And so this is what you've been working for. And so it is, it's a wonderful year. And even if it has to be remote or mostly remote, you're going to be working with some wonderful people who will make this experience really valuable for you. So this slide here, these are just sort of your people. So some of these terms, just to go over it. So as an intern, you will be working with, when you see Boise State, that would be maybe me, it would be Lori French, anyone in the dean's office. Sherry would be the program coordinator for elementary ed. You'll still have your other teacher education, College of Ed faculty. Your liaison is the full kind of term is your university liaison. And so this is a Boise State person who is kind of like your connector person between the university and kind of your experience in the field, because as you progress through professional year, again, you're going to be really more and more independent and kind of separate from campus. And so your liaison is your point of connection. This person's going to work with you. They're going to support you through your time in the program. So any sort of questions, concerns, anything that comes up along the way, your liaison is going to be a wonderful resource. Your other resource, the main one, is your mentor teacher. So this is really the person that you're going to be paired with, essentially co-teaching with. So working with this person to develop lesson plans, to kind of figure out what the relationship with your working relationship with this person is going to be like. So you'll get to work really closely with this person as well. Your principal also, you'll have varying levels probably of interaction with your principal. Sometimes principals like to do kind of like an informational interview at the beginning going into professional year. Maybe they have space to take 3 people and they want to get to know you so they can pair you with a particular teacher. So if there's an interview process for professional year, that's really what it looks like. It's completely different from the teacher ed interview process. And then finally, district offices. So when you're getting ready to actually go into the schools, there's all of the, I don't know, I guess the paperwork associated with you being able to be in the school. And so things like getting your badge and all of that, that communication will come from your district office. So really just kind of, if you look at this slide, be aware that you're going to be getting information from a lot of different places. And we know that that can be confusing. So again, we're here to help clarify. But again, because now you're this hybrid, like Boise State and in the school district, you've got a lot more people who you're working with on this. Okay, now, is this going to work? Okay, hold on, not to worry. Not to worry, I have it pulled up somewhere else. Oh no, did it close my window? Did I lose all my tabs? Oh no.
We're gonna get there. Hang on.
Okay, let me see if I can get this to play.
Can you give me screen sharing privileges?
Oh, here we go. Just kidding. I got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
My name is Gary Johnson, and I'm student teaching here at Sage International Charter School.
See it.
So you've gotten this far in your professional year, and now you're wondering,
Can you see it?
what do you all do? You're going to be working daily at a school.
Okay, sorry. Hold on. Nope, that's not what I want. Okay, sorry. Sorry. All right, first I gotta share this with you all again. Oh my
Yeah, you gotta unshare and then share again. Yeah.
Then there we go. Okay, so share.
Hit Gary.
Gary, play.
My name is Gary Johnson, and I'm student teaching here at Sage International Charter School. So you've gotten this far in your professional year, and now you're wondering, what do you all do? You're going to be working daily at a school with tons of people around you, mentor teachers, other student teachers, and liaisons. So it's probably good that you get to know them. So you have your liaisons, who are pretty much your personal teacher. They'll show up weekly, give you weekly meetings, show up in your classes, give you constructive feedback that you can take, and also just anything that you need, your liaison is there for you. You also have your mentor teacher. Mentor teacher you're going to be working with every day. Mentor teacher is there to guide you, give advice, and you get to watch them teach and learn things along the way. Don't be afraid to reach out to them and ask, not just accept everything, but ask why. Learn and get better every day.
Hey y'all, my name is Nisha Newton.
And I'm AJ Zankert.
And I am a teaching candidate.
Ruining the surprise. Okay. All right, I'm gonna turn over to you, Sherry. Oh, Sherry, you're on mute.
I'm so sorry. I'm here now. Hello, how are you? So let's talk about where you possibly could go. So people ask that all the time. So you could be placed within a 50-mile radius of campus. So that includes, we have a lot of placements in Boise, West Ada, Cunin, Nample, Caldwell, Valley View. We have had a request come in from Emmett. If anybody is interested or lives in that area already, we do have placements available in Mountain Home if that's an area that you live in already. We do have some limited rural opportunities. And if you are interested, I'm gonna have you connect with me directly. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my email in the chat for you. Just a second, I can get the chat going. And I'll go ahead and send that to you in the chat right now. And you can let me know. You've all been able to request or make like a first and second preference. And we really try to honor that when we can. If I see somebody put Caldwell in the chat. I mean, Caldwell as a request. I might not be able to get you to Caldwell, but I might be able to get you to Nampa or Valley View. So somewhere close. So we'll try to be as close as we can. If somebody has a preference for Middleton too, that's another place you could let me know. And sometimes I can contact them and stir up a placement. So that's really the locations that we're looking at. Do you have any questions about that? Okay, Rachel, you can continue then.
I had a question.
A question?
For the whole year, for spring and fall, are you at the same school?
Not always. So most of the time people stay at the same school, but it just depends on it depends on if we have a good match for you the next semester. But most people, I would say, generally stay in the same school.
Okay.
Secondary has a tendency to stay with their same mentor teacher, and elementary will have 2 placements. They will be upper grade and lower grade. If you are a dual candidate, like dual special education candidate, you'll have a placement in an elementary school in a gen ed classroom. The second semester you will move because you will move to a special ed placement. Okay, we're gonna wait just a minute and we're gonna go ahead and go to the next slide. We'll have a whole bunch of questions at the end. Okay, well, how does this placement happen? What is the process? So I just want you to know that we take the lead on making your placements. So you do not contact anybody. You just wait. If you have a question, you certainly can contact myself or Lori Pierce French. I'm happy to answer your questions. Please be patient. This is a rather, as you can imagine, every single district has its own process. And so it takes a while, especially as they're ending and starting semesters. It takes a while for us to get responses from people. We have to get a response from a mentor teacher, from a principal, and a district. So please be patient. I have every one of your names on a list. I am looking for placements for you every day. Our liaisons are also working in their buildings to create placements, but we want to make the best match we can for you. So that's why be patient. It takes a little while, and be open, because sometimes you've dreamed of this moment for such a long time. It's been something that you've been waiting to happen. And you may think, oh my goodness, my dream thing, I want a 3rd grade placement at Riverside Elementary. That's just what's in your head. It's like a school down the street from you. And you may get placed across town somewhere. Okay, we want you to be open to whatever school you get placed in. We do our very best to place people in diverse settings when we can. So you may be placed in a school that's very different from the school you went to as a student. So again, they all have something so wonderful to teach you. Just be open. If you feel like you're having challenges, or there's some kind of challenge, like here's a great challenge. Sometimes a person doesn't have a car, okay? And I may make a placement for you across town from where you live. I can't help you if you don't tell me those things. So please, if you have any information like that, that you think I need to know about, please definitely communicate that to me, because we can try to negotiate. We can try to get as close to what you need as we possibly can. Okay, Rachel, we can go to the next slide.
Okay.
And when will you know? Okay, here's the thing. Don't panic is the main thing, okay? It takes a while to get these confirmed. And the thing that is really difficult is some people have already gotten emails to go to an interview, like Rachel said. I'm about to send out some more requests from schools for interviews. Or you may be getting contacted soon by a liaison to say, hey, we want you to come out to X school. You may hear nothing, really nothing for like the next 3 weeks. So hang in there. Even if you're not placed the day the week school starts, you're still going to be perfectly fine. but I would assume at that point you're getting nervous and you want to check in. That's okay. But know that we are working on it. You may go for an interview and then you may not hear something for a week or so because we have to get a confirmation back from the principal at the school. So the other thing to know is you are now, as an intern, not following the calendar of Boise State. You will be following the calendar of your school district. So this is really important for people to know because your start date is going to be the first week of school in your school's district. It's not the first day of school at Boise State. So this year we had 4 different start times for our teacher candidates that was spread over 3 weeks. So we had West Ada start way later than Boise. So just be cognizant and aware of that. I can tell you that the week before Boise State starts, you will have a professional year orientation, which is mandatory, and we'll be sending the date out to you very soon. I think Boise State starts like on the 11th or something like that. I have to check the date. It's usually like the Thursday or the Wednesday before, something like that. And start dates and the way you will start is going to be different this year. Everybody will be different. So right now in schools, teaching is happening in 3 different modalities. So you may find yourself teaching face-to-face, fully face-to-face, kids coming 5 days a week, okay? You could also find yourself teaching in what we call a hybrid model. And I'll just give you an example of what the Boise district has been doing in a hybrid model. They teach online in their classroom. So the teachers report to the classroom. No boys and girls are there, no kids. And they teach from their classroom on Mondays. Tuesdays and Thursdays, half the kids come live. Wednesdays and Fridays, half the kids come live. So it keeps the numbers down. That's only one example of a hybrid model. Every district does it differently. But you also could be teaching fully remote. So you may start your first week of school fully remote. This has been working out fantastic. It's not something that you know about. It's not going to seem usual for you. I will go ahead and send out, as a matter of fact, I got to make a note to myself. I'm going to send out to you some training videos on how to use Google Meets, on how to use the different platforms that are being used in the schools so that you could probably work your way through these modules and get like a heads up as to what you'll be doing when you come back. If it's fully remote, some of you will be teaching in your classroom. Just you and your mentor teacher will be in there and no kids. Some people will teach remotely from home. So you will be, and every teacher, like most of the time teachers choose, sometimes districts mandate it. But when I talk about openness, and I just talked about openness and vulnerability, this is not something you've done before. It's going to feel a little nerve-wracking, but you can do it. People are doing a fantastic job at it. I'm watching teacher candidates teach fully online, fully remote, and it's amazing. So you're going to learn how, and you're going to do it, and just expect that it's going to change during the semester. I would anticipate many of you will start fully remote and move back to hybrid. And then the goal, of course, is to go fully face-to-face. You may get to experience all 3 of these in your first semester. But your mentor teachers have been doing it. They're getting more skilled at it. And so you can trust that they know what they're doing at this point. Mm-hmm. If you can imagine last spring when this happened, nobody knew what they were doing. But now, after a full semester and lots of professional development, we're actually getting pretty good at it. And again, I will send out those. Rachel's going to remind but I will definitely, when we find out your districts, I'll try to send you and if I don't remember, you can ask me to send you some links for some training videos for the platform that your districts are using, because they're all a little bit different. I went through them myself. It really helped me. So, okay, next slide, Rachel. Okay, as I said, what should you prepare for? And I think I just gave you a pretty good idea about the different teaching modalities that you should prepare for. You will also receive information about district badging processes. Okay, you are not to ever call the district unless you are prompted to do so. Okay, just like you should never contact a school to try to make your own placements. That's never okay. Okay, but you are going to receive an email from Lloyd Pierce French at some point if you are in the Boise district particularly, that says you need to get your badging done, and they'll give you directions and you have to sign up for a date. You have there's a training and things you have to go to, and you have to prioritize that because you may not start in schools until you complete that process. West Ada interns don't get badged, but they do sub training. And the reason the sub training is so important, it's really important in Nampa, it's really important in CUNA. Actually, all the districts, it's super important because it is your access to their platform. So if you don't complete the sub training, you don't have access to the platform, so you can't teach from your computer. Okay, so that's why it's really important that you complete that before school starts. And there's a very short window of time, of course, between when we finish and when they start. So whenever you get that email message, call right away to make an appointment. Let's see, I think we talked about all this. You will, in the end, get a final official confirmation from us as soon as we have verification with all the directions for you on it. It'll come from Lloyd Pierce French, but even before then, it's possible that your liaison might contact you if they know and give you a heads up where you're going to be placed. That sometimes happens as well. It comes before the official confirmation. Again, be open-minded. You're going to see things in your placement that you think, well, Boise State didn't tell me that this is the way we do things. I learned to do it this way. My mentor is doing it that way. We want you to have an inquiry stance. We want you to be open and think, well, that's maybe not the way I would do it. I wonder why my mentor teacher does it that way. And we really have to give each other a lot of grace during this time as we're all learning to teach online. You know, it's still fairly new. We've gained some skills, but we still have a long way to go. So we're just going to attack it as, well, let's see if this works. And if it doesn't work, we're going to try that. Just be open-minded and ready for the unexpected. Okay, Rachel?
Oops. Okay. Let's see if this one works.
Yay!
Hey y'all, my name is Nisha Newton,
And I'm AJ Zenkert.
and I am a teaching candidate here at Bora High School.
And I'm one of her liaisons from Boise State University.
So here at Bora High School, I initially started off my journey, first of all, probably in the whole process of not trying to look like a high school student. And once I've mastered that and can go through the hallways undisturbed, I started in more of a position as a fly on the wall, watching what my mentor teacher is doing, how they run the classroom. And then I start to advance more and more into my own position in the classroom until I take full reign.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurately described. And our role as liaisons is to support you in that. So we're here at the beginning, and then we duck out, as I'm about to in this video, and let you learn to fly on your own.
Never gets old.
I know. So why do you do this? You always have to keep in mind that the reason we're all doing this is to serve PK-12 students in Idaho. So sometimes when we start, we get so absorbed with ourselves. Like the whole reason everybody's here is to teach me how to be a teacher. But the whole reason we're all there right? Is to serve those P-12 students in schools. So I think that helps me sometimes, or it helps you to keep that in mind, because then it's you're able to think, how can I do this better so I can better serve the kids, instead of really focusing on self. So I really think that's a great thing to always keep in mind. And I'm over here in the background, and Rachel's here, and the rest of the team is here to really think about how I'm always thinking about how can we match you, okay, with the school, and think about the needs of the school in that context as well. So we're not only thinking about you, the teacher candidate, we're also thinking about the different types of schools we serve, and what different initiatives they have going on, and what their needs are. So we're thinking about this you're going to become part of a much larger picture. You're going to become part of a community at large, a school building community, and a classroom community. So when you're out there in the school, make sure you're thinking of that context as well too. Okay, Rachel, you can go to the next one. Okay, and as you're waiting to hear, and you're feeling a little bit impatient, try to think about professional communication. So professionalism in your communication. It's not helpful to call the Office of Teacher Ed, or whatever we're calling it this week now. It's not appropriate to call the office and yell at the person on the other end of the phone, right? Or to send them a rude email. Like, we're all doing the very best we can do. You don't need to call schools and make your own placement. You just need to wait and be patient. And it's okay if you're fit. Like for me, it's really okay if every once in a while, not every day, but every once in a while, if you want to check in with me, that's okay. We're all trying to solve problems together, and we really want to help you solve problems. So I think you're now shifting into that professional world, from that student world to this professional as a teacher. And so your communication should exhibit those professional elements of communication. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay.
Welcome to your professional year, and congratulations on being accepted. Some things you might not know about your professional year is you might have a liaison in residence like me. I'm a full-time teacher, but I also help the Boise State interns and student teachers in my building.
Felicidades por llegar a su año profesional. One thing I wish I would have known is how fast time goes by. I wish I would have gone to every meeting, every collaboration, any event that was possible. Please go to professional year orientation. Adios.
Congratulations. Welcome to the professional year. As a secondary student starting their professional year, one thing I wish I'd known is that even though this is a very serious thing that you're doing, it's also a lot of fun. Remember that it's a learning opportunity also. And don't forget to go to orientation. You learn lots of stuff.
Congratulations. As a secondary student in the professional year, I wish I had known that it's okay to take initiative and not to be afraid to ask questions. Be sure to attend orientation to learn more.
Welcome to your professional year. One thing I didn't know when I started was that you're at your internship Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You also have your seminars Monday night, so plan ahead for that. Find out more at orientation.
Welcome to your professional year. I'm very excited to have you in my school. When you join us, you'll become part of our school family.
Okay, and before we have questions, there's a couple of things that I just forgot to touch on that I do want to mention, because you can start working on some of these things right now. So professional year is very, very time intensive. So especially the interns. For those of you who need to make sure to plan out childcare, this is something that you're going to need to start working on right away. Secondary interns have a little bit more flexibility on the days that they attend, but generally we want you to pick a Monday, Wednesday, or a Friday. Okay, but if your classes disrupt, then it's possible that you can negotiate something different with your liaison. Elementary candidates, elementary dual candidates in the internship will be in their placements Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, except the dual candidates, and they will go 4 days a week. So if you're getting a dual degree, you have to pick either the Tuesday or the Thursday. In addition, you'll have coursework. So our secondary candidates often have as many as 3 courses along with their internship. In the elementary program, you're going to have your Ed CIFS 430 and your Ed LLC 442. This is an amazing amount of work. And so anything that you can take off your plate before next semester, you definitely want to take it off your plate. Okay, it is really difficult to work. I know there's some people that can't avoid it, but if you can cut back your hours in any way, shape, or form, please make an effort to do that. If you volunteer for something, I would suggest you unvolunteer. Whatever you feel like you could jettison that you are regularly participating in, I would suggest that you do it, because it is a huge balancing act. This will not be like any semester you have ever had before. When you show up at your schools, you are expected to show up full time the hours of your teacher, your mentor teacher. So in secondary, the day starts very early. Okay, you're going to be there super early in the morning for 0 hour. And the school day, when the school bell rings, that's great. Kids go home, but you don't. You stay until you are prepared and ready for the next day. School will also have events, although during COVID, that's been something that's been cut back. But there are things like school events or carnivals or things like that, and you will attend. So I want you to be thinking about all of those things as well. Also, when you start here's something that's going to be new to you, and we will get the information out to this group of people as well. It went out to the current professional year students today, but we'll have to get you a copy. When you start your placement, before you start, you are going to need a negative COVID test. Okay, testing is happening for free on campus. And it's like, you should get the results pretty quickly. Okay, so that's something to know. We'll be sending out information to you with the date and the link. You make an appointment ahead of time, and I'll just give you an example. So right now, all of us returning from Thanksgiving break, this doesn't impact you all because you all are going to be remote after Thanksgiving break because you're in your courses. But I'm here in my office at work. After Thanksgiving, I can't come back into this office until I have a COVID negative test. So I went in today, I made an appointment for Monday the 30th at 8:15, and then I'll be cleared to come back to my office. Okay. I also would not suggest traveling too much right before. So like if you're coming from out of town, like if you're going to go home over break, over Christmas, and you come in, I'd come in a little early to give yourself some time to get your test, to make sure you're feeling well. You know, give yourself a couple of days to get oriented when you come back to campus. I think that'll help you as well. Okay, now we're ready for questions. And if you want to go into the participants area of Zoom and just hit the raise hand, then we'll see your hands.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so on my application, I put in a school, but that was like a couple years ago. And could I change that placement, school placement?
Well, we won't look at that. If you put in a particular school, we're not going to, if you put in, I'd like to be in the Boise district or the West Ada district, that's what we're looking at.
Okay. Okay,
Does
so
that make sense?
Do I need to go back and change it on the application?
If you don't want Boise or West Ada.
No, this was in Parma. So, but
Okay, just send me an email
okay.
and I'll change that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Well, the good news is for anyone who hasn't had I was going to say the good news is for anyone who hasn't had a COVID test recently is they are not as bad as they used to be. They don't stick that thing all the way up there. It's just like a little uncomfortable. So that's progress.
That's good. Yeah, we just got this news this week. This is all brand new.
So
and possible things could change before you start, and I'll update you. It's all based on the rollback to stage 2 and things like that. So you'll find a weekly message. Once you are accepted into professional year, you'll receive a weekly message from me. You always want to open it because it has all the latest updates. Like if anything changes or gets updated, that's where we'll send you the information for your placements.
Okay, sorry, Elizabeth, we cut you off twice. Go ahead.
It's okay. I was just wondering, so you mentioned secondary and elementary, and I'm in early childhood education blended. So how does that work with my blended early childhood, special education and general education?
Yeah, that'll be, we kind of categorize that as under the elementary because it follows a similar pattern. Your professional year placements are a little different because you have the preschool and then you have the SPED or you have the Gen Ed, whichever of the two you're doing. So I'm not sure which, if you're early childhood special education, is that what you said?
I'm blended early childhood, general education, early childhood special education. So I'm both.
Yeah, so you'll have your general education classroom first, and then the second semester you'll do your blended.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We have a question about what happens if someone gets exposed to COVID or at some point during professional year does have a positive test result. What would be the process for that?
So we have two things that we'll need to think about, and we'll go over these more, but you now work in 2 spaces. So you are responsible for following the protocols of the school district you're in, and you also have to follow all the protocols at Boise State. So the process is that you call the public health, and we'll provide you with that information. It's on the COVID site for Boise State. You contact the public health officer here, and they will walk you through it, but you additionally must inform your mentor teacher and your principal. Okay, and if you have any questions, you just call public health. And it's here on campus. They're so great at helping you, like to make a decision. But we always err on the side of caution. And the schools right now have a lot of protocols in place too. They may ask you to do something in addition or more, or they may ask you to quarantine or stay home or wait till you get a result back. There's been a lot of that back and forth going on, and every school kind of handles it a little bit differently. Boise State will kind of always, you'll just call that number, and they'll tell you what to do. And again, the testing is available on campus. So that makes it really easy for some people.
And let's see, if your endorsement is in a middle school subject, will you do time in a middle school during professional year or only in an elementary school?
I love the way you said that, Rachel. Will you do time in the middle school?
Oh no.
Yes, if you have a middle school endorsement, you will have at least 4 weeks of experience. Right now, what we've been doing is we have been integrating that into your student teaching. So you have been working, and right now during COVID, we've been having you do it remotely so that you don't cross between buildings because they don't want you going into the middle school and then into your elementary school or vice versa. So we've been trying to do some of those remotely, but for the most part, they'll either be like once a week or one period a week. That's kind of the way we like to do it, like 0 hour. You might do the 0 hour at the middle school, and then the rest of the day in your elementary classroom.
And what about for those who are waiting on praxis tests? Will that affect the placement process?
Yes, so let's talk about that. That's a great question. So those of you who do not have your praxis scores passed before you start, you have to appeal. And so, Rachel, we're going to be doing one big group appeal. Here's what I would say to you. If you do not have your scores by Friday, the 20th, we're going to ask you to go ahead and appeal. We know things have been nuts with COVID trying to get the tests. I mean, with COVID with ETS trying to get your tests. So we're going to give you a little bit, perhaps more leeway than you would definitely not get this leeway in a regular year. You would have to wait and sit out until you had your praxis passed. You need to sign up for the next available date and send that date to Lori Pierce French, and then you're going to apply for an appeal. Okay. So those are the two requirements. You won't get your appeal granted if you don't have a test date. So it's really important to, like, this week, get that test date and send it to her, and then she'll send you directions for how to appeal. We're going to send those out all at once. Okay.
And who do you want us to send that to?
So those go to, she's probably been emailing you madly and saying, where's your praxis scores?
I'll put her email in.
Are you putting it in the chat? Okay.
Yeah.
She's your best friend. Be very kind to Lori.
Yes.
That would be honestly, that's my very best advice to you, probably in your all of professional year. Be polite and nice to Lori Pierce French.
So I've been in contact with Lori over the 5-5-4-3 sped test. I took that back in October and still don't have results back. So would I still appeal for that, or how does that work? Because I just don't know.
Mackenzie, I would just check in with Lori and say, here's the test, here's the date I took the test. I do not have results back. Can you check for me? Like,
I did that today. She doesn't have a response.
She doesn't have it. Okay, so then she has your date probably already, but you probably, if you don't get your results by next Friday, you're going to need to fill out an appeal.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that question.
Sherry, are we going to ask people to fill out the kind of common appeal form, the professional standards and appeals committee appeal form? It's going to be the same process if anyone has appealed before.
Yep, same process. Except that appeals committee they're going to hear them all at one time.
Yeah.
It'll be like a whole group that goes through. That's why you don't want to wait. You want yours to go through with the group. Okay.
For those of you.
Yeah, that doesn't mean though that then you have like forever. So you don't. You have you have to keep showing us that you're taking it and studying it and taking the next available test. Okay, so that would be my word to you. And study groups are great. And the 20th of this month.
And the appeal form does say that it requires an advisor signature, but the appeals committee has, we've kind of just waived that requirement because we don't have printers or scanners at home. So don't worry about that piece of it.
Any other questions?
Do we start like with the second, when the school starts their second semester? Is that kind of how it's set up?
Yep. So you'll come in at spring semester and then you'll do your student teaching in the fall. Okay, the orientation, great question, Taylor, definitely will be over Zoom. Most of our seminars are going to be taking place over Zoom or asynchronous. And a lot of your courses are going to start that way. We are really hyper protective of you because you are in schools. And so we want you to come to campus as little as possible, because we don't want you coming here and bringing something there or there to here. So that's why you're going to see like even, and so this is something different too, is liaison work. So normally the liaisons are in the building with you all the time. We are not allowed in buildings right now. So all of the supervision, all of your supervision observations, you're sending us a video, and we are debriefing with you on Zoom. And so we hope we can get into school soon. The second they let us in, we'll be there. So, but it really, it's for everybody's safety that we just try to keep you guys as isolated in some ways as possible. And I think that's another thing to consider too. It's going to be part of being a professional, that other groups we really haven't had to talk to about this, but your students and your teachers and yourself, that safety is paramount. So you following protocols when you're not in a placement is so important, right? Like not going to the party on Saturday night and not, I mean, some of the things you just used to take for granted that were okay to do, they're just not going to be okay to do, because you don't want to be the one who brings it into the building. So it's kind of difficult, but it's just one of those things. You'll just have to think about, how can I be super careful? I think is the thing. Okay. Well, I have to give a shout out to another one of my Trailwind students who I was their first grade teacher. So not only do we have Hannah, now we have Tessa Smith. So I'm telling you that Trailwind is putting out like amazing groups of teachers. We had 2 last semester too. I'm like, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, whatever was in the water fountains there seems to be
I'm a little
working.
biased. That's all. Try not to be. Okay.
Well, really, too, I would just echo, like, we know this is going to be a learning curve. It's going to be a weird semester, but it still will be fun. Like, do I like being on Zoom? No, I hate it. I hate looking at my own face. Like, it's very distracting, and I would really rather see you all individually in person. I'm much more comfortable with that, but here we are. We've all learned, and it's been amazing. Just like Sherry had said, how our teacher candidates who've been doing it this semester already, how quickly people have learned, and how kind of people's perceptions have changed, because you know, you start the semester and you're like, oh man, like this is gonna be awful. What am I really gonna do online? Like this is, and then people have been so creative and found such cool ways to like engage that it's been really neat to hear about. I've been impressed.
I've been really impressed. I think I really impressed with the work that candidates are doing and their mentor teachers. And I get to watch, because my grandson is with me on Mondays and Tuesdays doing school. So I get to actually help him and watch. And I'm just like, it's pretty cool what's going on out there. Oh, we had a question in the chat. Elizabeth is asking about, I'm going to guess, Elizabeth, you must have gone to Sherman Elementary. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So at Sherman, they really want you to go down to the district and do your sub paperwork. You just need to contact Lori, the email that we put into the chat, and say that the principal at Sherman has asked you. She just needs to send your name over. He always scoots you over faster than we can get your name on the district list.
Okay, thank you so much.
And he does mean it. Like as soon as Lori says, I'll send your name over, that's when you get to go. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll be sending you the date for professional year orientation, and you will be attending, and you'll have a million more questions between now and then. And I hope we can get those answered for you. But we're thinking about you every day, and I'm on the list messing around with where you're going every day. So hang in there.
And it will be fun. It will, like, this is a fun year. Yeah, you're tired and like you're drinking too much coffee, but it's fun too. So don't forget that.
I've been waiting to do this whole time. This is it. Right? Now you get to be with the kids. So this is the good stuff. All right. I'm going to hit stop record.
Super.
I've done it. All right, everybody.